Hola, hola. Bienvenido a Transcending la Familia. Hello, everyone. This is the Spanglish episode. So if you hear a little bit of both languages, don't be alarmed. You're on Transcending la Familia, which is a Spanglish podcast. We are sponsored by a nonprofit Learning Idiom. We also partner with a lot of local nonprofits as well. We break language barriers and culture barriers by perfecting people's English and Spanish. We also love teaching the culture, so we definitely dabble a lot in the culinary arts. So we love teaching Spanish and English culture as well as the food because we love food. I haven't met a Latino or a Hispanic that doesn't like food. So
That's right.
we definitely enjoy our food and just want to educate our community. And so today we have a very special guest. I met her through Connected Leaders Academy. Which is one of our sponsors. So thank you, Jose Yanyara and Daniel Gomez, who have sponsored Learning Idiom in the past and in this year too. And so we love being able to bring this content to you and be just more, have really professional speakers and real professionals, which I'm sure if you've listened to our past episodes, you can tell we always get professionals on here, or people who are just vulnerable enough to share their story in a positive way. And so today we have a special episode. We're going to be talking about grief. And so if you have tissues around, you're probably gonna cry, maybe. If you're like my cousin who has been on, she's one of the co-authors of Helping Hands with Hope. She she'll tell you she's a big like cry baby, she'll cry at every movie. So we're gonna be talking about grief, covering some things and how both me and her basically turned our pain into our purpose. And she'll go a little bit more into that. Without further ado, definitely wanted to give you some time to reintroduce yourself to our audience, Marilyn, and everything that you do with Izzy's Legacy. So go ahead.
Oh, thank you for having me here today. Like I said, it's a first for me live on TikTok, so I welcome the opportunity. Um, and we recently met, right? We are part of a lot of the same circles, and we share a lot of different things. So yes, Spanglish number one is something that people make fun of me about because when you speak two languages, right? When you're raised, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. When you're raised in a household where your parents speak only Spanish and you're going to school and you're being raised in this environment, you think in two languages, right? So a lot of times it's like, what's the word? And you'll say it in Spanish and half in English, but that's who we are, right? And so thank you for making a platform for people like me. Okay. So like I just said, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I've been a registered nurse, a board certified holistic nurse for over 30 years, right? I became a nurse at the age of 17 years old and have seen a lot and been through a lot. But one of the biggest things that I talk about is I had a baby girl in 2007. Her name was Isabella. And at the age of 7 months old, she was diagnosed with a rare leukemia. And this was a leukemia that could not be treated with chemotherapy. That's how rare it is. You hear the word leukemia and you automatically think, okay, there's drugs for that, especially me being a nurse and having treated patients with cancer and leukemia. You think, all right, this is doable, right? There's medications for that. But then the next sentence out of the doctors were, no, this is not that kind of leukemia. There's no medicine for this. The only thing that can treat this is a bone marrow transplant or a stem cell transplant, as we call it now. Um, so the best chances for that, for those people que no saben lo que es un trasplante de médula ósea, right, which is the bone marrow transplant, is the cells that are in our bones, right? They make this spongy material inside the bone makes our red blood cells, our white blood cells, and pretty much our immune system, right? So to keep us healthy. So with someone that has cancer of their immune system, they can't fight infections. So one of the biggest telltale signs for her was that she kept getting infections, ear infections, fevers, and we couldn't figure out why she was getting sick all the time. And she's a baby, so you think, I had two other children that she was just catching colds for them. But it got to a point where it was just she never got better, right? So under more testing, we unfortunately found out that this is what was happening to her, is that she had cancer at such a young age, right? And even as a nurse, I was like, well, how does this even happen, right, to a baby? Um, So one of the things in her story is the fact that we needed this. I had two other children, but unfortunately, heartbreakingly, they were not matches for her. You need a match in order to get that transplant, just like any other organ transplant. You need someone to match you. Um, and it has to be a genetic match, right? Somebody from your same background is more likely, not that it has to be, but it's more likely to match you to receive this transplant. None of us were a match for her. So now we have to search in this database, in this registry, en un registro, that for a stranger to save my daughter's life, right? And we find out that Latinos do not have a presence, right? So they told me it was going to be hard. We got to get you on television. We got to get you in the newspaper. You have to have drives, because no hay una presencia. There's no presence in that registry. So there's the likelihood that I was going to find the match was very low. So we had to begin our search. Now, this was back in 2007. And now today, 2024, we still have the same problem, right? Latinos, we still have the same problem. When we look at statistics, right? If you're a white person, you have a 79% chance of finding a match within that registry. When you're Latino, that drops to 48%. If
Wow.
you're Black, 29%. And if you're mixed, you're half Latino and half something else, you're half Black, half something else, whatever that something else is, that drops to less than 29%. So imagine if you're one of those people, and every 3 minutes, somebody in the United States is diagnosed with a blood cancer. Imagine that. How many people are being diagnosed and potentially need a match to save their life, and we're not in there. So because of that is why I now have a nonprofit organization called Izzy's Legacy in her honor. I did lose her in 2008, not because we didn't find a match. We found a match for her, but because of complications of being immune compromised after her transplant. Um,
Wow, that's amazing that, even though you guys got that, match, it wasn't, it was her time to, for God to take her. And I think, when it comes to mothers and when it comes to mothering a child, a lot of the times we feel like we lose our children, you know, we lose touch with them. I know as adults, because my mom has told me many a times, she's like, I don't even know if your sister's alive. And I'm like, maybe I should call her and tell her to like check up with her mom. So, a lot of, happy Mother's Day for all the mothers. I know in Latin American countries, it's at the end of the month, not in the beginning. So, feliz Dia de las Madres a todas las mamás. Aquí tenemos una mamá muy, muy, con mucha inspiración y yo quería traerla a este canal por esa razón, porque ella perdió una hija, entonces por eso queríamos hablar un poquito de ese proceso de cómo en el medio del dolor hay un propósito. Entonces, es algo que ahora ella puede ayudar a más personas que en ese, cuando viene a si tienes cáncer, háblanos un poquito más qué específicamente hace Easy Legacies para, y si ayudan también qué tipo de personas ayudan en español para que,
sí, pero todas las personas que estén en una jornada, right, like a journey, as we call it, una jornada de cáncer. Cuando una persona es diagnosticada con cáncer, solamente no es la persona, es la familia completa, right? So, cuando mi hija fue diagnosticada, yo no pude trabajar. Entonces, por eso nosotros perdimos un salario completo por yo tener que estar en el hospital. Eso causa muchas cosas en la familia, right? ¿De dónde vamos a sacar dinero para comer? ¿Dónde vamos a sacar dinero para pagar el mortgage? Para hacer otras cosas con mis otros dos niños que estaban en la escuela. A veces uno necesita dinero para el lonche, para un trip que van a hacer en la escuela, algo que necesitan, ¿de dónde lo vamos a sacar? Right? So, son muchos problemas que salen. Mi carro, si algo le pasa a mi carro, yo tengo que viajar al hospital todos los días. Ahora mismo nosotros ayudamos a una mamá que su hija tenía leucemia también en el hospital. Y lo que ella necesitaba, su carro se le rompió, right? Entonces hay muchas organizaciones que ayudan con los biles. right? Con la electricidad, con el mortgage, con cosas así. Pero no hay una organización que te ayuda a, to fix your car, a ayudar con gastos de esa categoría. Is this legacy? Eso es lo que hacemos. Lo que
Wow.
usted necesita, nosotros ayudamos.
Qué bueno. Y es muy importante porque hay muchas personas que ellos hacen, en inglés le dicen como meal trains, so hay muchas personas que ellos, donan su tiempo y su dinero para las comidas de las personas. Y también hay muchas organizaciones, como Saint Jude o, otras organizaciones. O es casi como ese tipo de organización y esos son las organizaciones que hacen lo más impacto para muchas personas porque hay una necesidad muy grande, no solo médica, pero también, hay personas que no están trabajando en ese tiempo. Tienen que viajar hay personas que viajan como 2 horas. Yo he conocido personas que viajan todos los días para solo ir a ver a sus hijos. Entonces, cuando, nacen temprano, preemies o lo que sea, pero, es tan importante en medio de ese dolor, todavía tener esa esperanza. Háblanos un poquito de cómo tú te sentiste durante ese proceso y si tú sabías que ibas a hacer esto o quién te dio esa idea de pelear para las otras personas ya después que pues tu hija ya no estaba. ¿Qué te inspiró para comenzar esta compañía?
Bueno, durante que yo estaba pasando eso por ella, no sabía que lo iba a hacer. Yo sabía que cuando aprendí de que nosotros no éramos un match para ella, que esa información era importante, de decirle a las personas, nosotros latinos no tenemos presencia. Nosotros latinos es algo que nosotros podemos cambiar, right? Que no es una cosa que otra persona hace por nosotros. Nosotros mismos podemos luchar por nosotros mismos, tener el mismo chance que otra persona, right? Yo sabía que yo iba a seguir ese mensaje. Se lo contaba a toda persona vocalmente cuando hablaba con ellos. Estoy peleando por mi hija, pero es una información que yo misma como enfermera no lo sabía y tengo que hacerlo. Yo le decía a mi esposo cuando yo aprendí, en esa época yo cogí la información y metí en la computadora la información de nosotros médica que nos dice si tenemos un match o no, right? Y aprendí que yo no tenía nadie para mí. Mis otros 2 hijos no había nadie para ellos. Si fuéramos uno de nosotros, we didn't have a chance. There was no chance for us. Isabela tenía personas allá afuera. Era la única que tenía chance. Y eso es algo que me impactó. Y dije que no matter what happened with her, lo que pasara con ella, teníamos que seguir hablando de esto, porque otra persona están pasando por esto y es importante pasar esa información para adelante. Pero de ayudar personas financially, eso me inspiró una vez, I was new to New Jersey, right? I had just moved to New Jersey. No conocía a las personas que vivían a mi alrededor y ellos sin conocerme hicieron un evento para recurrir fondos para nosotros. Y por esas personas extrañas que ni nos conocían, yo pude atender a mi hija, right? Y durante ese tiempo, una persona entró buscando a los papás de Isabela. Una señora entró, pidió hablar con nosotros. Yo no estaba porque estaba en el hospital con mi hija. Mi esposo fue y dijo, yo soy el papá de Isabela. Y ella le dio un sobre. En ese sobre habían $500 y él le dijo, mi esposo tuvo cáncer y una persona hizo esto para nosotros y yo quería pagarlo adelante. Un día ustedes van a poder hacer lo mismo, right? Y con eso se fue. Nunca cogimos su nombre, no sabemos de dónde salió ese ángel, right? Pero cuando mi esposo me contó lo que pasó, yo dije, un día nosotros vamos a hacer lo mismo. Y ese día llegó.
Wow, qué bueno que, en medio de todo todavía ustedes tenían ese pensamiento porque lamentablemente muchas personas no tienen ese pensamiento, se ponen en una depresión inmensa que seguro, sí había, pero tenían esa esperanza de que alguien les dio la mano a ustedes y ustedes querían dar la mano a otro en el futuro. Y no todos tienen esa mentalidad. Entonces, como dicen en inglés, I'd like to commend you and your family because not everyone can do that. And not everyone even has the thought to do that. I think right now we're living in an age where a lot of people are really, I don't want to say they're selfish, but they're just trying to survive. Like,
Yeah, and
they're
you are in survival mode when things happen like that, and for those that don't speak Spanish, right, that story is about, us not having an income, and the town where I lived in, who barely knew us, held a fundraiser, for us to be able to help us financially when they heard what we were going through, and it within that fundraiser, someone showed up at the door, a stranger showed up at the door with an envelope that contained $500 and handed it to my husband and said, "Someone did this for us, we want to pay it forward and one day you will do that." And that planted a seed 16 years ago that one day we would be able to pay it forward. And that stayed with the both of us and said, one day we will be able to do that. Sometimes God sends messengers and the message, because you feel it, the message stays with you and says, one day will come. And the one day did come.
That's awesome that you guys were able to turn that very painful process into your, now this amazing purpose. The only thing that, I mean, I've never lost a kid. I know my mom has, but the closest thing that I can think of is, you lost someone. I lost, my a very powerful and very impactful mother figure to me about 5 years ago. And so for me to like turn like, and I'm still grieving it. Like I didn't even realize it. Certain things just kind of trigger me, and then I like think about her a lot, and it just starts over the again. And I'm just like, this is so weird, but it's because, when we lose certain people in our life that are super impactful, they left that handprint in our heart. They left that handprint, and for me, it was, Denora Rangel. She was a realtor. She's the one who sold me my first house, and she was my mom's friend. Like she raised me, like she helped my mom raise me because my mom at the time was a pastor. She's retired now. And so she always tells everyone, ahora es tiempo para mi familia, no para la comunidad. So she's a full-time grandma. She still loves the community, still, gives her time when she can, but her family is the main people that she surrounds herself with, because all her life she didn't do that. And so,
And
yeah,
sometimes it's not right away, right? Just like you said, you're new. This happened to us. So Izzy's legacy was created last year, right? So here we go. 2008, I lose my daughter. It wasn't until 2023 that Izzy's legacy became a reality. So it didn't happen right away. And although it was in my heart that many years ago, and we would do things on a smaller scale, it wasn't until my daughter, who was 9 years old at the time that this happened, is now a grown woman and has dedicated her life to helping families like ours, that shared with me that our people still have a problem, right?
yeah,
Because she now works for NMDP, the people that help you find your match. And she says, Mom, I'm helping this family. And this little Latina girl is 11 years old. Y todavía es la hora que she hasn't found her match. She's been searching for 6 years and time is running out for her.
yeah.
And it's breaking my heart. We can't find her match. ¿Y cómo va a ser? Tantos años después, we still don't have a presence. I was like, no, we got to do something different, right? And this is
Sure,
when we
sure.
decided to. So same with you, right? So
Now
I'd
I'm
love
a
to hear
realtor.
more about your journey.
Well, now I'm a realtor, and so I always tell people that yes, she had such of an impact in me that it's not that I wanted to be her, it's that if I felt and I physically I felt that she was giving me the baton because I was one of her interns in the summer, and so she was teaching me real estate, and so I felt like she spent so much time with me during her last days, and so I was like, and then God just opened the door. Like, you don't just get free education from someone. And, a broker, he paid for everything. And I was like, this is a God thing. Like, nobody just does that.
Right.
And so I was like, so I took it, and, God just, he keeps reminding me, I opened this door. Now you got to walk in it. And so I've been in it for about this is my fourth year. I've been I was a consultant for the first year, but, during this process, it's been so like, and I'm sure you can relate to whenever you're grieving someone, you also want to like have a legacy. And so it's like a joyous, but at the same time, it's a very emotional process because you're doing this in their remembrance. You're doing this, because they inspired you to. And so there's certain times where I'm like, I think about her and I'm like, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for her. And so, I think that kind of is just so powerful in the sense of you feel them with you when you're doing that. And I'm sure you know what that means. But
100%.
we always ask all of our guests in English and in Spanish, si la vida te estuviera enseñando algo, ¿qué dirías que te estuviera enseñando con una palabra? O puede ser una frase.
Amor.
Amor. So in English, love, everyone. Love.
Love is behind everything, right? Love is behind the drive that we do. Everything that I do, everything that you're doing now is because we love so hard, right? So we miss that hard and we have to work that hard.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing. So many people they don't have that right now. And if you're one of those people, definitely reach out. We have three currently in Learning Idiom, the nonprofit, three ordained ministers that can, help you. I'm one of them. I was the
Mm.
life coach for so long, but then, I've been a preacher's kid all my life. So, whenever I became ordained, it was a very like big moment for me. So if you're one of those people that maybe you have lack of love, maybe you don't have it or you don't even know what it is, definitely reach out. This is the reason why we do these episodes. This is the reason why we do these YouTube channels and videos. And if you're on TikTok or Instagram or any social media that you watch us or listen to us, you're the reason why we do this. Because even if it's that one soul that did not needed this word, any part of this, and they chose to not take their life, they chose to keep going, they chose to even just start a business. There's so many things that people we have gotten like so much feedback, personal messages of people who said that they were inspired, and that's the reason why we keep going. And so we know that this was a vision that God gave me a long time ago. And now it's such a beautiful thing to see that in fruition. And so if you're listening to this and you need help, definitely reach out. It's okay to need people, it's okay to ask for help. And so, any last words before we close it up?
So yeah, if anybody is in need of services, right? If you're going through a cancer journey and our message has spoken to you, izzy'slegacyinc.org. You can go right on there, learn about the services, join the registry. Join the registry. This is something that we can do to help. It takes less than 3 minutes. The kit comes right to your house. You can read all about it right on that website and reach out to me as well. Thank you once again for allowing me to be on this platform and talk about grief. So thank you.
For sure, yeah. And we'll be leaving her information so you can contact her. And if you're on YouTube, then on the bottom. If you're on Facebook, on the top. And if you're listening to us live on TikTok, hello. And hopefully we can stay on TikTok. So stay tuned for our upcoming episodes. We are going to talk about immigration with um one of our she was part of Arkansas United. She was part of the reason why dreamers here still have a job. So nurses, there's a so she was a big part of Arkansas United, and being able to have that facility for, or that ability here in Arkansas for the dreamers. And so they have to renew every 2 years, but at least they still are able to work here legally. So stay tuned for that next Spanglish episode with Ingrid. And thank you so much for your time and for everything that you do for your community. We'll be in touch, and give your family a big tight hug on this Mother's Day. I'm not sure when it is over there in Puerto Rico, but in Nicaragua it's really soon. I can't remember the exact date, but yeah. So from our family to your family, thank you so much for being part of our community, and always remember to take care. God bless, and peace be with you. And don't forget to register to our upcoming events because we have a lot going on this year. You're not going to want to miss the car show. I'm super excited about that. It's a fundraising event, but it's going to be free food and it's going to be a good time. We're going to have a DJ. We're just going to look at some pretty cars.
Nice, nice, nice. I think I better get over there for that.
Yeah, for sure. And so thank you so much for your time, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.